What are the 7 kinds of love you never knew existed?
Welcome to Showing Up 100, where self love and taking action is a daily practice. On today's episode, we'll be exploring the 7 types of love. I'm Dr. Carmen Iris.
And I'm Melissa. We're so excited to have you here as we discuss an often overlooked aspect of life and consciousness.
In today's episode, we begin with the foundation of energy known as self love. I want to start by acknowledging something very real. Self love is elusive. I often see pink energy when I read a person's energy field, and that energy identifies itself as self love. But what does that really mean? Is it a feeling, an emotion, or something deeper? So, through my exploration, I've come to the conclusion that self love isn't an emotion in the way that, we often think of love. It's not the same as, that warmth that we feel, right, when we embrace a loved one, nor is it the excitement that comes with passion, right? So self love is an
Right.
energy. It is something we carry within us, something that moves through us, that stillness, a state of pure being. And this energy is considered foundational for healing, growth, and connecting with one another and the divine.
That's such an interesting perspective. I think so many of us associate self-love with a feeling, right? Like confidence, happiness, or even self-acceptance. But what if it's something we are, rather than something we feel? The problem with the word love.
Yeah, so part of the confusion around self love comes from thinking we have to do something, right, for ourselves. And that equals to loving myself, right? So if I go do my nails, that equals to loving myself. And it also comes from the way that we use the word love. In English, we are so limited, right? We say,
Right.
I love my partner, I love my pet, I love coconut. But do we really love coconut in the same way that we love a person? Not quite. That's why to truly understand love, we turned to the wisdom of the ancient Greeks. They had 7 different words for love, and
Wow.
each, really described a distinct vibration and experience. And over the course of this podcast, we're going to explore each of these 7 types of love, and we're going to uncover how they shape our lives and spiritual journeys.
Right. That's right. There's so much more nuance, really, to love than what the English language offers. So, we're going to dive really deep into these 7 Greek words for love. And let's start, with the first one that most people think of, Eros.
Yes, Eros, and I'm pronouncing it in Spanish, but uh,
Beautiful.
and Eros is passionate, fiery, intoxicating, right? This is romantic love, it's desire, lust, pleasure. It's what makes your heart race, right? And it also gives you like that butterfly. You see that person across the bar, yummy, yummy. Sometimes is instant attraction, right? Think about Cupid. He was modeled after Euros.
Right. But the Greeks weren't totally in love with Eros, were they? They saw it kind of as a dangerous force, something that that could completely possess you.
Exactly, because Eros is primal. It takes over and losing control kind of a thing that scares them. But funny enough, that's exactly what so many people want in love today, right? We say, I want to fall madly in love. We crave that high, but it doesn't last.
right? We all know the high comes with the low. And that's where the other types of love come in, ones that are more stable, more enduring, like philia.
Yeah, so philia is deep friendship, right? The Greek really valued philia more than eros because it wasn't just about passion, it was about loyalty, trust, and emotional connection. So this is the kind of love you find in, right, a bestie, and people who truly have your back.
Right. I think too, for the ancient Greeks, they also thought of it like soldiers fighting,
Mhm.
side by side. It's
Yeah.
that bond, that unbreakable connection. And it's not just about sharing, the fun times. It's about showing up, being there, that supportive friend that's there with you through thick and thin.
Yeah. And then there's Ludus, and that's the playful love.
Oh, Ludus. Flirting, teasing, dancing, having fun. It's the giggles of a teenage crush, the lightheartedness of a new romance. It's that energy, right, of laughter and play.
But it's just not for romance, right? So Ludus is also the love we experience when we joke around with friends, when we dance, when we let go and enjoy the moment. And honestly, we all need more Ludus in our lives.
Right, right. Yes, we do. Especially though in long-term
Yeah.
relationships, keeping it fun, right? We always talk about trying to keep a relationship fresh, keeping it light. Speaking of love that lasts, let's talk about pragma.
Yeah, so Pragma is long lasting love. It's the kind of love that stands the test of time. This is the love of couples who've been together for decades, who weathered the storm of life and still choose each other every single day.
That's amazing. It's commitment, it's
Mm,
patience,
yeah.
right? And compromise. It's not just about falling in love, it's about staying in love and choosing to love really day after day.
Then we have Storge, right? It's familial love.
And that's the love between parents and children, siblings, family. It's protective, it's nurturing, unconditional.
Mhm.
The love that says, I've got you, no matter what.
And then the highest form of love, Agape.
Oh, agape is a universal love. It's selfless, it's compassionate, it's unconditional. It's a love that doesn't ask for anything in return. A love that transcends really personal relationship and extends to all of humanity.
It's the love that heals, right? The love that
Mhm.
really connects us all. And when we cultivate agape, we open ourselves to something bigger than just romantic and familial love. We really open ourselves to love as an energy, as a way of being in the world.
So let's talk about Philautia, the Greek word for self love,
Mhm.
but not just any kind of self love.
Right? Not the kind that inflates the ego or makes you self obsessed, right? Philosophy isn't narcissism. It's not about thinking you're better than anyone else. So, true philosophy is a deep inner sense of well being, of self worth. It's the quiet, steady energy inside you that says, I'm okay. I like myself. I deserve love.
Right, doesn't everybody? And when you feel that, when
Mhm.
you're secure in yourself, you naturally have more love, to give to others. It's like you have an overflowing cup. But Carmen, where does this sense of self-love come from? How is Philautia
Well, here's where it gets interesting. It all comes back to pictures.
pictures?
Yeah, pictures, images, right? So before we even learn to speak our native language, we absorb energy, impressions, and beliefs, from the world around us because we don't have language yet, right? So these images settle into our aura, our chakras, our body, like little snapshots of information that we unconsciously carry with us. And every morning, right, when we wake up, our spirit re enters the body. We read those pictures to remember what lifetime we're currently living and who we are.
So, okay, so these pictures shape how we see the world, right? And ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. That's why two people can look at the same glass of water and one sees it half full and the other one sees it half empty. Why? Because of the beliefs. And beliefs are programming in their field. And guess who the first programmers are?
Drum roll, please. Our parents, right?
Bingo! Before you even knew what self love was, your parents were already modeling it or not. However, they felt about themselves, whether they had self love or struggled with it, you absorbed that.
So if a parent was insecure or self critical or didn't believe they were worthy, a child might take on that same pattern.
Yeah, exactly. And let me give you an example. When I was little, I really looked at my mother with so much love one day and said, Mom, you're like the most beautiful woman in the world. And you know what she said? No, no, I'm not. I'm not even attractive. And in that moment, my little mind went, wait, if the most beautiful woman I know doesn't believe she's beautiful, what does that mean for me?
That's so powerful. And so many of us have moments like that, like little moments that plant these seeds of doubt into really our own self worth.
Exactly. And it's not just parents. There's another huge influence in our self love, our relationship with Supreme Being.
There we go. Let's go there.
If So let's say you were raised to believe that the Supreme Being only loves you under certain conditions, that you have to be good enough, follow the rules, not make mistakes. Then you absorb that in your field. You might start thinking, if even God doesn't love me unconditionally, how can I be worthy?
Right. And then, of course, there are people who grew up with no belief in a
Yeah.
supreme being at all. So they might feel like they're just floating out there, in life without any great loving support for them.
Exactly. And then there are those who were raised spiritually, where the Supreme Being is understood as the highest energy you acknowledge. That's a different kind of relationship, one that fosters, connection rather than fear.
Right. So we have our parents' programming, our beliefs about the supreme being, and then there's something else, isn't there? Something, that reinforces self love or the lack of it throughout life.
Oh yeah, the patriarchy.
Here we go.
So look, the structure we live in is like a pyramid, right? At the very top, there's one person with power, and everyone else, we're all just trying not to be at the very, very bottom. So the system itself, it's designed to keep us doubting our worth.
Right. Because if people truly love themselves, if they truly felt their own worth, the whole system would fall apart.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And if we all woke up tomorrow knowing I am enough, I am powerful, I am worthy, then of course the entire structure will collapse because we wouldn't be competing to climb over each other. We wouldn't be looking outside of ourselves for validation. We wouldn't be as easily controlled.
Right. And that's why self-love isn't just personal. It's revolutionary.
Yeah. That's why Philautia is so important. It's not just about feeling good about yourself. It's about reclaiming your energy, your essence, your power within. It's about undergoing generations of programming and saying, I get to love myself fully, no conditions.
And that's something we could all start working on, like right now.
Absolutely. So reflect on this. What messages did you receive about self love from your parents, from your spiritual upbringing, from your society? And most importantly, what new messages do you want to create for yourself?
Because self-love isn't something you have to earn. I mean, let me say that again. It is not something you have to learn. It's something you remember.
Yeah. And that's why Philautia is the foundation of all love.
So on that note, we'll leave you with this. Love yourself like your life depends on it because in many ways it does.
All right, until next time, showing up is honoring your energy, awakening to your own divinity, and remembering you are already worthy.